I have these, we are more than we think we are.
Okay.
That's what Walter Wink said. And how does that apply in your life?
Well, one of the things I'm beginning to realize is that the self-denigration that I get caught in, if only I could be like Walter Wink or whatever, is not what it's about. It's about who I am, who Chuck Pfeifer is. And when I appreciate that dimension, I realize there's much more to me than I even thought there was. And so it's not just even about denigrating, but it's about, I'm absolutely amazed at my potential, and your potential, and everybody's potential. And so it seems like there's a kind of an awe in which I hold people now that I didn't before. And so when I hear people denigrating one another, it's really hurtful because it denigrates that potential in us.
And that sense of human capacity or human potential goes back to Jesus?
Well, it goes back to Jesus, it goes back to Buddha, it goes back to a lot of the people we emulated. Maybe Jean's mother, my mother-in-law, it doesn't have to be just people that are known through the ages. And when I see that potential in them, it's, man, that shows me what I can be. And it's really awesome.
I was thinking about this too. One of the most incredible human beings I ever met who exhibited this kind of potential was in Liberia. And it was a completely uneducated woman who had just finally had it. She'd gone through the war, she was pregnant, she had, her husband couldn't leave the house for fear of being killed on sight, and all the responsibility was on her shoulders. And there was some big shot general who went by the ditch where she was and splashed dirty water all over her, and he stopped the truck, and she just stood right up to him and said, I beg your pardon, I'm a human being, and you have to treat me like a human being. And he, of course, pulled out his gun, and she said, go ahead, shoot me, but I demand your apology. And he was completely undone by that. And he told her, the child that you're carrying is going to be a great person. Actually, he said a great man, but
yeah, right.
we have to cut him slack. We have to cut him some slack.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's being truly human.
It is. My mother-in-law, Jean's mom, was a little old Methodist church lady. She was about 5'3" and somewhat rotund. But in the 50s, she was carrying Johnny Smoker around, talking to kids in high school about what that does to your lungs. In the 60s, she was one of the little old ladies in tennis shoes that marched on the Pentagon. And in the 70s, she was involved with Edgar Cayce and reincarnation. And yet, when you looked at her, all you saw was a little white Methodist church lady. And she was much, much more than that. And only the people who knew her intimately knew that. But she was a human being and challenged me in that in a tremendous way.
Thank you so much, Chuck, for being with us today.
Thanks, Gene. I appreciate it.